Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my YouTube video. And today I would like to ask you a question. Can we all just agree that astrology is dumb? Like, what are we doing here? Why is this still a thing? For thousands of years, people have practiced astrology, and since ancient times, there have been people who said, why do we keep doing this? It clearly doesn't work. There's nothing that would indicate it predicts anything. But here we are, 2,000 years later, and girls are still asking guys about the exact minute they were born to try to figure out if they're astrologically compatible to let them hit in the back of their Nissan Altima. Now, of course, I think when it comes to dating, astrology is actually pretty useful. And by that, I mean that if you're a guy and the girl you're talking to wants to know when you were born for any reason other than to wish you a happy birthday, just get out of there. It's not worth it. And if you're a girl and the guy you're talking to tells you that he's actually into astrology, he's lying and he's going to cheat on you. Now, when it comes to people who believe in divination, big word, I know, there are definitely levels to it. Obviously, not every girl with her star sign in her bio lets astrology completely dictate her life. I think people want to feel like there is something greater than them that's in control, and organized religion has all these silly doctrines and rules. That's no fun. So obviously, you gaslight yourself into thinking that your fate is decided by rocks in space. But I have recently found a form of divination, and more specifically a certain practitioner of it, that has to be one of the dumbest things I have ever come across. And that's numerology. Now, this stuff is usually by nature pretty convoluted, but the basic idea is that you gain insight from numbers like birthdays or the amount of letters in a word. It's all energetically connected or whatever. You just have to figure out what the numbers mean. Insert Black Ops reference.
The numbers, basically. What do they mean?
A form of numerology you probably have heard about is angel numbers, 3 or 4 repeating digits that are supposedly a sign from the universe about something.
Police steady watching me. Every day they clocking me.
That you're about to experience new beginnings or something similarly vague. Now, if that sounds like made up new age hippie talk to you, the person who made it up would actually agree with you. Doreen Virtue, the author who wrote the book that, as far as I can tell, coined the term angel numbers, has since come out and said about angel numbers, quote, "It's garbage, I regret it, and I'm sorry that I made them." Now, I want you to imagine the type of person that is really into astrology and numerology. What do you picture? A millennial woman with dyed hair, tattoos maybe, a septum piercing, an r/witches versus patriarchy user, you know, the type of girl that thinks using a razor is colonialism? And you might be right, but what you probably didn't think of was the complete polar opposite of that.
I am the top person in my chosen field, which is numerology and astrology. I've been at this for about 2 decades. I help people interpret numerology, which is a way to decode exactly what someone's personality is, what they're going to be doing in life, if they're going to be successful, if they're going to have money, if they're going to have a successful marriage. Things like that can be told by numerology and astrology, because I believe this is all virtual reality. And at the end of the day, in the virtual reality, you have to have cheat codes, just like in video games.
My life is like a video game, trying hard to beat the stage.
This is Gary the numbers guy, also known as GG33, and as you heard, he is a numerologist, and he can use numerology to help you get ahead in life, down to what you should be doing on which days.
Listen, on 3 days, you gotta be social. 3s are social animals. So on 3 days, you throw a party, go out with some friends. You have to socialize. That's how you go with the system. Now, on 4 days, work. Gotta work on 4 days. If you got something to do, put in work on a 4 day. I tell you what you don't do. Don't sell drugs on a 4 day. You shouldn't do that any day, but you really shouldn't do it on a 4 day.
What I really appreciate and admire about Gary is that he doesn't care what you think. He's not here to sell you anything. He does all of this because he wants the truth to be out there.
So what people have to understand is, you don't need to believe me. I'm not here to sell you on anything, okay?
He has a website where you can book a numerology reading from him for $1,000.
I'm not here to sell you on anything.
Or if you're in a hurry and you need it done within the next 28 hours, which is a weirdly specific time frame, you can get that for the reasonable price of $2,000.
I'm not here to sell you on anything.
Or alternatively, you can get a reading from one of the students of his GG33 Academy, an educational institution on par with the likes of Yale, Oxford, or Hustlers University. Imagine paying $230 for a numerology reading from a guy with an anime profile picture.
I'm not here to sell you on anything.
Everyone has a life path. Do the things your life that put you in more alignment with your path. Zolo wisdom. I think I might have just found the greatest philosopher of our time. He also sells memberships to GG33 Academy with the price ranging between $100 a month to a single payment of $1,900.
I'm not here to sell you on anything.
Or I suppose if you're a real brokey, you could always buy a written numerology reading for $125 for a PDF file. $125.
I'm not here to sell you on anything.
But maybe it's worth it because numerology really is the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe. And if there's one thing I've learned from Gary, it's that numerology and astrology can be applied to literally anything, including social and political issues.
They need to repeal the 19th Amendment that gave women the right to vote. 80% of the debt in this country, the 75, is by women. Do you understand what they do? And then they always want social programs, which taxpayers pay for, which is communism, socialism. Woman, first vowel O. Communism, socialism, first vowel O. Women tend to vote for these. Man, A. Capitalism, A. So we just see, even from the letterology perspective, we need capitalism. We need just men to vote.
Dude, that is actually insane. I mean, we all know women shouldn't vote, but like, what the hell is letterology? Now, you might feel the need to point out the irony of Gary being a misogynist while also being an astrology fanatic. It's kind of like being a racist basketball fan, but put yourself in his shoes for a second. How would you feel if your honest, reasonable, and fact-based industry
You've been a bad girl.
was given a bad name by a bunch of crazy whores who just lie and make things up? Gary isn't about that, okay? He's about honesty and accountability.
So numerology is typically with a lot of like these feminist whores. But like
100%.
What do they have any of it right, or
No,
they have just a whole different version of it?
No, they just make stuff up. There's no accountability. You understand? When I tell you something, I'm throwing a birthday. I'm throwing an event behind it so people can be like, yo, look it up yourself. Don't believe me. Look it up yourself. I'm actually being accountable by telling you what I believe and then giving you information to back it up. There's no accountability with these women.
You know what? I think that's a great idea. If numerology is true, which it obviously is, it should be able to hold up under scrutiny. And I think I know just the thing we can test.
People born on the 28th are wealth. I always tell people Elon Musk is born on the 28th. But that's one example. Like you said, one fucking person, that doesn't matter. But if I point out that every single day in the month is 3.3%, because there's 30 days in the month, you break it down percentage, it's 3.3%. What if I told you 6 of the 23 richest people in the world are born on the 28th?
You showed me that at dinner. That's crazy. That's not a coincidence.
That's not a coincidence.
So to fact check this, I went to the Forbes real-time billionaires list and looked up the birthdays of the richest people in the world. I probably could have gotten ChatGPT to do this for me and saved a lot of time, but this was too important to leave up to AI. So his claim that out of the 23 richest people in the world, 6 of them were born on the 28th is almost true. It is in fact only 4. So we're not off to a great start, but 4 is still a lot. Now I did use AI for this next part, so if the math is wrong, don't blame me. But according to Claude, the odds of that happening is still very low. Out of any random group of 23 people, there is a 0.54 chance of 4 of them being born on the 28th. However, I decided to look up not only the birthdays of the 23 richest people in the world, but the 50 richest people in the world. So out of the 50 richest people in the world, how many of them were born on the 28th? Drumroll please. 4. Still only 4. And the chances of that happening is a lot higher at 5.17%. And it's especially unremarkable when you consider the fact that the 28th is tied with the 7th and 14th for having 4 spots on the list. So things aren't looking great for Gary in terms of accountability. Looks like him and the feminist whores might not be so different after all. It's hard to know if Gary genuinely believes the stuff he says or how much of it he believes. And obviously I can't know for sure. It's just funny because I never would have thought that someone would use astrology of all things to try and sound tough.
What would be like the worst thing that would happen if I went there like in like my enemy place? Like what if I went into my enemy city in my enemy year? Would I just get like absolutely cooked?
I'll give you an example. I was in my enemy state, Ohio, and I was still a local celebrity. People knew who the fuck I was, but no one knew who I was outside of Cleveland, Ohio. It was literally the mayor, LeBron James, a couple football players, and the Browns, and me.
Yeah.
That was the king of Cleveland radio, and no one knew who the fuck I was outside of Cleveland. So being in my enemy state held me down.
Oh yeah, I guess I forgot to mention that enemy years and places is also a thing. It's mostly enemy years as far as I can tell. That's what gets talked about the most. It's like a Chinese astrology thing, apparently. But I guess you can have enemy states and cities as well, like Cleveland, Ohio.
Adrian, explain our friend group.
We are.
Gary made a video with another guy in this whole numerology sphere called Gematria Club. Gematria is another form of numerology where you assign numerical values to words. You can just watch these guys come up with their bullshit on the spot. They're just spitballing.
Here is the 89th Masters.
Oh, wow.
Okay, the Masters tournament is a golf tournament. I think everybody's familiar. It's quite famous.
What's golf?
Not only is it the 89th, but 89 was a snake year.
G-O, golf. G-O, God. G-O, government. G-O, gold. Hey, if you want gold and you found God, play golf.
Amen?
Amen. What else can you say?
This is almost on the level of a freestyle rap battle. I'd say better than Snipes.
If you want to be the Joker, why don't I give you a bottle of pills, a Chelsea smile, and instead of Heath Ledger dying, why don't you replace his death?
But worse than Touche.
The best way to advise you is to stay where your lights are, then tape your eyes up so you'll have slight luck.
It's also funny, you can tell how insecure Gary is. I mean, you already saw what he thinks about women who believe in pretty much the same thing he does. But even with this Gematria Club guy, Gary cannot go a minute without interjecting to remind everyone that he actually already knows everything and he's really the big man on the boat.
I is the 9th letter, so I equals 9.
He's talking to me like I never heard this before.
Right, no, it's really for these guys.
Okay, so for them, not for me. Okay, so we got that clear. Go ahead.
Numerology is actually more mainstream than I thought. Gary has worked with people like Fresh and Fit, although that's not too surprising considering his earlier statements. He's also got videos on his channel with Sneeko and Aiden Ross, where Aiden says that he also believes in numerology after Gary apparently put a curse on him.
I still wanted to find time to speak with you, whether it was on stream or off stream. It was 100% real. You put this little curse on me. I'm not gonna call it a little curse, but you put a hex on me or something.
I guess curses are also real now? Yeah, I don't know. He didn't really elaborate on that much. And again, you know, no offense to Aiden, but he isn't exactly known as the pinnacle of intellect. He also interviewed XXXTentacion's mom, where he told her that he believes X knew he was going to be killed before it happened, because apparently X also believed in all this stuff, which is the least surprising thing I have ever heard.
What's that? What's a numerology?
Even Sean Ryan, who has one of the biggest podcasts in the world, has made content about numerology. He's got a video where he interviews a priest and exorcist titled, "What Does the Bible Say About Numerology?" And spoiler alert, but they don't really talk about what the Bible says about numerology. As far as I know, it doesn't really say anything about it. The video is mostly just Sean Ryan and the priest giving anecdotal stories about angel numbers, which again, the woman who came up with angel numbers has since said it's garbage, ironically, considering the title of his video, after she converted to Christianity. But the sad thing is, there are people who genuinely listen and look to people like Gary for advice on how to live their life, and they'll dish out thousands of dollars for it. And it's all fun and games to cyberbully grifters and scam artists like Gary, but it's genuinely beyond me that people can actually believe the shit he says.
They should go back to 13 months and 28 days. The 28 days is when the moon goes around to match the woman's menstrual cycle. They should go back to that. The reason they changed it is to manipulate the energies.
Now, if you think about what he said for about half a second, you'd realize that if what he says is true and 13 months is the way the calendar should be, then that would completely invalidate all the dates he uses for his numerology. But don't worry, Gary's one step ahead of you there.
We're following, what's the calendar called? Gregorian? Mm-hmm. So we're following this now, and you base people's personalities off of birthdays on that.
Ask me why though.
Why?
It's very simple. Because if 6-7 billion people in the world believe that today is September 16th. That's exactly what the environment, the matrix is going to do. So that's why people's energy is going to match that day, because everyone's manifesting that calendar itself. This stuff is deep. And again, this is a whole different way of thinking for most of you people. I understand that.
Gary's right. That is a very different way of thinking for most of us. That might be the truest thing he said so far. Imagine how cooked you have to be to listen to that and think, yeah, that checks out. I'm honestly dumbfounded. Like, if you read the comments on his videos, it's all people who seem to unironically believe what he says. Like, just how? I don't get it. The nice thing, though, is that if you're a person of average intelligence like me, you can look at these people and compare to them, you feel like a genius. Like, dude, pass me the Mensa application form right now. But that can be a dangerous game, and I think I might have flown a little bit too close to the sun here, because with the amount of GG33 videos I've watched, I've reduced my IQ by probably at least 10 points. But hey, anything for that content, baby. And if we get at least 3 likes, I will keep trying to find someone even dumber to make a video about. And that's a promise. Thank you for watching. Bye.